What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Apple, back again with another video, and today I'm here with my WWE Roadblock End of the Line 2016 review. And what did I think of the show? I thought it was alright. I thought it was an okay to decent show, but if you missed out on the pay-per-view, you didn't really miss much. I mean, there were a few title changes that were, pretty noteworthy, but besides that, if you missed out on the show, you didn't really, miss out on anything spectacular or anything, except for maybe a few moments, maybe. But anyway, let's not muck around. Let's get straight into the review. We'll quickly talk about the pre-show match between Rusev and Big Cass. Big Cass and Enzo were talking shit on the mic beforehand, which is always good. But Rusev beats Big Cass by countout, so that's just fantastic. But onto the actual show, we get the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the New Day and Cesaro and Sheamus. New Day are all decked out in their Christmas attire, which looks great, and then they talk about, how, Roadblock, and they mistake it for Cockblock for some reason, and all that. So, this was a very good match, in my opinion. Cesaro was fantastic in this, as he usually is. He hit a big uppercut, and Kofi's cell was great. Big E hit probably the safest outside spear I've seen him do so far. And Cesaro went for a swing on Kofi. Big E, but Kofi pushes Sheamus into Cesaro and all that. Woods distracted the ref and throughout the match and all that to stop the guys from winning the titles and all that, which was good. And then Cesaro turned a roll-up into a neutralizer, and they did the White Family spot, because you know how the White Family always runs into moves for each other. Well, Xavier Woods did that and took a bro kick, so Kofi Kingston can hit his SOS. But for some reason, I don't know how, but Cesaro ends up hitting a crossbody or, I don't know, something like that, and he pins Kofi, and they win the Raw Tag Team titles. Holy shit. That was pretty awesome to see. I had a feeling that they were going to drop the belts. I did predict the New Day to retain and move on to maybe the Rumble or Mania, but no, they dropped it here at Roadblock, which was pretty weird, but I didn't have a problem with it. I'm happy to see Cesaro and Sheamus hold the Raw Tag Team titles, and hopefully they could be a very strong team into the Tag Team division. I'm not sure what the New Day is going to do after this, though. That's going to be a very interesting question for many people to answer. Hopefully New Day can answer that. But speaking of New Day, they end up hugging with Cesaro and congratulate him. I thought they were going to turn heel on him, which would have been alright. But Sheamus ends up snatching the championship off of Cesaro, so now he's got both Raw Tag Team titles and he's holding up in the air. And then Cesaro decides to celebrate in the crowd, and they do the whole boo yeah kind of spot that they usually been doing this whole time. So yeah, good opening match. Really enjoyed it, and I'm happy to see Cesaro and Sheamus become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Then we move on to a backstage segment involving Kevin Owens. He gets interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and he's got a little gift with him for Jericho, and then he sees Jericho and gives him the gift, and it's a Christmas scarf, and he's like, oh, I wonder if you like it, and he throws it back in KO's face, and I think Owens throughout the whole night was trying to get Jericho to become his friend again, which I thought was humorous. And then after that segment, we get to our second match of the night, which is Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman in a 10-minute survival match. If Sami Zayn can last 10 minutes with Braun Strowman, he wins the match, or if he beats him in a pinfall submission attempt or whatever. So we get into a minute and a half, and Sami's just getting wrecked by Braun Strowman. There was a two-pace suicida. Caught and thrown, and Sami got thrown into the apron, and a couple of minutes left, and Mick Foley comes out, and he's got the towel, and Sami's like, don't you dare throw in that towel, and the crowd starts chanting, delete, delete, and I'm sure Matt Hardy will be proud of that. Strowman gets rammed into the post, and then he tries to run into Sami Zayn, but he pulls a Nia Jax and spears himself through the barricade, which that spot always makes me giggle for some reason. He hit a crossbody on Braun Strowman, and right at the end of the 10 minutes, he hits a Luva kick, and Sami ends up winning by going through all 10 minutes. and all that. But yeah, what did I think of the match overall? I thought it was okay. I think they could have done it a lot better. I feel like Mick Foley, was kind of trying to go out there because he kept telling them, I'll throw in the towel for you, Sami, and all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like a bit of a time waster just to go through the whole 10 minutes. But, didn't have a problem with Sami going through the whole 10 minutes. That's what I predicted anyway. So, yeah, Sami gets the win. And, it's not going to hurt Strowman since he didn't get pinned or submitted or anything. I'm sure Braun Strowman's going to beat Sami Zayn in a one-on-one match or something like that. But that's what I predict anyway. Next match is Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho in a pretty good match. Only problem is we've seen these guys wrestle a bunch of times on Raw, but like if you haven't watched Raw in the last few weeks or whatever, or months or something like that, and you haven't seen Rollins versus Jericho, I think you will enjoy this match. But yeah, this was a pretty decent kind of match overall. So there was a springboard dropkick that sent Rollins to the outside, and Jericho, he's been one of the MVPs of 2016 in my opinion. There was a lion salt, but he got dumped out before he can hit it to the outside. There was the walls of Jericho got locked in. There was a frog splash fail by Seth Rollins, and then Y2J finally hit the lion salt and locked in the walls of Jericho again. Seth Rollins ends up trying to get out, but then Kevin Owens, because he still wants to be friends with Jericho and prove to him, I can still be your friend and all that, tries to interfere on Jericho's behalf, but because the ref is all distracted with KO coming out, Jericho gets a roll up, and he only gets a 2 count because, the ref's so distracted with Kevin Owens. But Rollins ends up hitting the pedigree to get the win. So, the friction between Jericho and Owens kept continuing throughout the night, and Seth Rollins ends up getting his win. I don't know if he's going to beat Kevin Owens, though. I think if they go through with the Fatal 4-Way match, I think Rollins might actually win the Fatal 4-Way match, which would be crazy. And he'll have his match with Triple H for the championship. I kind of hope they don't. I hope that Rollins versus Triple H is just a normal one-on-one match, because I want Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor really badly, because I think that match would be fantastic. And, that just makes sense because, Balor dropped the title and, you got to go after Owens. I've explained to it in a few videos in the past, so check out a couple of the last reviews I've done for Raw. Yeah, Seth Rollins gets the win, and he moves on further, hopefully to his match with Triple H at WrestleMania 33. Then we get to the Triple Threat Cruiserweight Championship match between Rich Swann, TJ Perkins, and the Brian Kendrick. Austin Aries was on commentary. I know he's part of the commentary team on 205 Live, but I really hope he starts wrestling soon. I think he's injured. Is he injured at the moment? Not really sure. But I hope I can see him in that division soon, because I think he'd fit it very, very well. And, TJ was locking in that knee bar really well. And this was, your typical dull cruiserweight match. It's a lot better than some of the other cruiserweight matches we've seen. But just the cruiserweight division needs a kick up the arse, in my opinion. So Rich Swann retains the championship, which is awesome. But Neville makes his return, and I think he's going to be the kick in the ass that I was talking about before. So he comes out there, he's sporting the beard, making his return on the main roster instead of wrestling on Superstars every week. So he comes out to confront Rich Swann, and he looks like, I'm going to shake his hand and all that stuff, and it looks like that. But nah, Neville kicks Swann in the gut, and then he goes after TJ Perkins, and it's official. Neville has turned heel, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, he's going after him, and he's pissed. So I think that's great. I've been saying for a while Neville should be in the Cruiserweight division. Thank you, WWE, for actually listening. And heel turn, I'm down for that. I'm down for a Neville heel turn. If that means, he can get himself elevated more and hopefully hold that Cruiserweight Championship, I think that would be awesome and just exactly what Neville needs for his career right now. So yeah, good job, Neville, and I hope to wish the best from you, mate. Then we get to Kevin Owens, who's still begging and pleading for Chris Jericho, which is just weird for his character. and how, this is nothing to do with me and all that, and it's like, you can put me on the list if that makes you feel better and all that stuff, just don't hate me and all that, which is weird, I think KO, shouldn't he, give a shit or anything like that? Normal Kevin Owens shouldn't even give a shit. But, that's just what happens, and they say, I don't think we can be friends anymore, and everyone around the world cries a little bit because Jericho and Owens' friendship's gone. Who knows? They could be friends by the end of the night. We're going to have to wait and see. Then we get to the 30-minute Iron Woman, I don't like calling it Iron Man, Iron Woman match between Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. Match of the night, hands down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so it's a great match overall. So throughout the first 10 to 15 minutes, they didn't really get any falls on each other. There was Sasha saying to Charlotte, your daddy loves me now, and all that stuff, which instantly thought of Dirty Thoughts, which was disgusting. There was some double knees on the apron, and she had a toupee suicida that Sasha did not die from, which was good. I'm like, oh, she's going to play it safe. And then she takes a bump on the steel steps, face first. So, so much for that. And there was a natural selection with 2 count, but then Charlotte goes to do it on the top rope, so Charlotte Flair gets the first fall, and then she slaps Sasha for a bit, and then Sasha does this fucking weird, roll-up, she did a Rubik's Cube kind of a thing, and she gets the first fall, so it's 1-1 at this point. There was a moonsault, missed into a bank statement, Charlotte taps out, now it's 2-1. Then Charlotte lands on Sasha's knee, and then she starts targeting that throughout the match, and it looks like she's going to snap her leg. She locks in the figure 4, and she locks it in for a good solid minute. There's only a couple of seconds left, and when there's 3 seconds left, that's when Sasha taps, and now it's 2-2, and the ref's like, you know what, fuck it, let's just pull a sudden death, let's go Brett and Shawn up in this bitch. And Sasha's leg is just fucked. So as soon as she was selling that leg, I'm like, Charlotte's retaining for sure. Even though she got a roll up, and then Sasha, poor girl, got her nose fully bloodied, and her lip was bleeding, and she got effed up in that match. Even though she locked in the bank statement, that wasn't enough. Sasha tried to fight back the figure 4 into the figure 8, but she couldn't do it. She taps, and for the 5 bazillionth time, Charlotte wins back the championship, and the hot potato win continues. But you know what? I thought this was a great match, a great Iron Man match, or Iron Woman, whatever. Really, really enjoyed it. I thought, the targeting of the leg, I thought was very well done, and just Sasha just bleeding her hearts out, just was great. And I expected this was going to happen. I'm not angry at this, I know I can completely understand why people aren't really fond of this feud because of the constant hot potatoing of the championship. You have the title. No, you have the title. You. It's been very annoying. I completely understand that. But, Charlotte just keeps her undefeated streak on pay-per-views because that's what WWE wants to go for. I'm saying until WrestleMania, I'm guessing, when she drops the championship to, I'm hoping, Bayley, maybe Nia Jax, who knows, maybe Dana Brooke, but do we really want to see Bayley and Dana Brooke at WrestleMania? I really don't, but maybe the storyline could be good, who knows. But now that feud's over, I feel like it's time to move on to some other women, give them a shot, maybe Alicia, well, she's got that thing with Cedric Alexander at the moment, maybe they can quit that or whatever, and Bayley beats Alicia in their feud, and then she moves on to Charlotte, and she finally gets a feud with her, and I feel like for a good 3 to 4 month build, I think they can be able to do it, hopefully, and make sure Bayley gets enough time, because it kind of makes sense. Bayley debuted on the main roster with Charlotte in the ring, so I wouldn't be too mad if they main event WrestleMania. Well, I wouldn't be mad at all. That'd be awesome, and see Bayley win the championship. But for now, Charlotte's retaining. I don't have a problem with that because I predicted it, and yeah, good stuff. Then we get to the main event for the WWE Universal Championship. Kevin Owens versus
Big Top Dog,
the United States Champion Roman Reigns, and it was a good main event. I'll say that it was a good main event. Not to the standard of Sasha versus Charlotte, but I don't think anything would beat that. It was good for what it was. There was a senton off the steel steps, which was cool, which I really enjoyed, and there was a somersault leg drop by Owens. He was locking in headlocks throughout the whole thing. He went for a cannonball and he did the big ooh-ah beforehand, but he gets dropped with the Samoan drop. There was a Superman punch reversed into a DDT. And there was a Superman punch while Kevin was on the top rope, but he reversed into a fisherman suplex. Swanton, Roman gets the knees up. There was 2 drive-bys, but the second one he ended up reversing it. And then they get to the announce table. He hits a frog splash, ends up not breaking, but then he does it again. And he hits a third one in the ring, but ends up getting the kick out and all that stuff. There was a pop-up powerbomb, but Roman puts his foot on the ropes. And KO gets the Universal Championship, ends up getting speared. But then Jericho shows up, and he's like, oh, he's going to be by his best friend's side. Ends up hitting the code breaker on Kevin Owens, and because of that, Kevin Owens wins via disqualification and is still the Raw or the WWE Universal Championship. And it turns out it's been one big setup this whole time so that Kevin Owens can retain the championship. Although I did find it really funny, to see them that they're all good and all that. Kevin Owens was saying to himself, the whole last week, no one thinks I can do it by myself. No one thinks I can hold on to it. And then Jericho helps him win the belt. That doesn't make sense to me. It was all set up to the hug, and now they're friends again, which is all good. And of course, Roman is a bit pissed, and then Seth Rollins shows up, and they end up kicking the shit out of both men. They hit their finishes on him. They end up hitting the double powerbomb to both guys through tables, through the announce tables, and that's how we end the show. So, my match of the night, to me, the Ironwoman match, that was just really, really good. I love the storytelling in it. I think this feud has been one of the best women's feuds ever, in my opinion. I think the booking has been a bit shoddy, but the matches these two girls have just put each other through have been absolutely fantastic. But overall, how am I going to rank this show? I'm going to give this show a 6 out of 10. It's going to be one of those shows where there was some good to decent matches, and we had a great Ironwoman match, but this is not going to be a show that you're going to go back to in 5 or 10 years and be like, oh, this pay-per-view is so memorable and amazing. It's not going to be one of those shows. But for now, it was decent for what it was. It was an alright pay-per-view. But, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you thought of Roadblock End of the Line. If you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram's at JackO'ManLaw31 if you want to check me out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm out in 3, 2, 1.